for a flag. They see none.
Elliott! Oh, he lost the football.
Rookie kicker.
Simmons blocked it.
Brilliant move by the NFL to start playing good games. It's better when they play good games. We got Week 10 with Adonde, Blackstone, Plaschke, and Ryan right now.
Football. It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Tony Reale.
Seahawks, Pats, 7 lead changes. Is that good? Everybody on the panel last week had New England. Mutes by association. We're going to start here, the 1 yard line. Always with these two, the 1 yard line. Every time I come here, you two. Jay Adonde, you throwing a flag there or not?
Absolutely not. I believe in letting the players decide it, not the officials, and it was right to not throw a flag there. Who initiated the contact? Who didn't? Who was penalized by it? Nobody really. Just let them play it out, handle it themselves. I might have a bigger problem with the play call than the lack of a penalty called. If we were going to get on Pete Carroll for not running the ball on the 1 yard line against the Patriots, then why don't we get on Bill Belichick for not running the ball on the 1 yard line against the Seahawks?
Adonde asked the question. Plaschke, do you have an answer?
I absolutely agree with him. LeGarrette Blount was in the game. Why not give the ball to LeGarrette Blount? How many times does Belichick run a play where we say, we know that was coming? Almost never. This play, everybody knew he was going to Gronk. It was the minute Gronk bolted out of the backfield, we knew it would be one-on-one in the corner. We knew it would be a fade route. Everybody knew that. Belichick usually doesn't do what everybody knows. He should have given the ball to Blount. Blount came in the game specifically after the penalty for in that jumbo package to get the ball. I'm stunned he didn't get the ball. Bad play call. And Jay's right.
Did you think there was pass interference on Gronkowski?
No, Gronk pushed him. No, pass interference. No.
Bob Ryan, we go to you. You're in New England. Let's see what you're thinking here.
My thinking is that I'm very happy that no flag was thrown because there was absolutely no way to determine who initiated the contact. I'm tired of bogus pass interference both ways. We see it every Sunday. I'm so happy the game ended clean. To me, that's ending cleanly with no ifs, ands, or buts. And as far as the play call is concerned, I will throw to the greatest tight end in the history of mankind every time in a situation like that. The throw could have been better. No one's mentioned that.
Okay, so those last 4 plays, I think it was a Brady sneak, it was a Blount run up the middle, it was another Brady sneak where he fumbled the ball, and then it was that pass. You're all right with all that? Mm-hmm.
No, listen, Brady's sneaking. He's the best quarterback sneaker I've ever seen. I've never seen him do that before, ever. That was the last thing you would expect. Blount tried to go up the top, and Cam Chancellor said, baby, you're not coming up here. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the call. You got to execute better, and Brady, frankly, didn't execute.
KB, I want on the play calling, and I wanted on the contact between Chancellor and Gronkowski.
Well, I didn't like the second sneak by Brady. I thought that one was one that just wasn't going to work. I would have handed the ball off there to Blount. But I did not mind throwing it to Gronkowski. Look, he's the best offensive player, the best offensive weapon that Brady has. And you think that in that situation he's going to have the advantage with his size and his strength over anybody, including Chancellor, who was covering him. And by the way, he initiated the contact. I'm glad they did not throw a flag, though, because that's within 5 yards. That's hand-to-hand combat, and you're just trying to make a play. So I think that game ended just as it should, given the play calls and given the flags that stayed in the pockets.
Adonde, after hearing everybody else in this panel saying, going to Gronkowski, who is your number one threat, that's the equivalent of Marshawn Lynch running the ball there, don't you think? When you said, well, we got on Pete Carroll for not running the ball with Marshawn Lynch at the Super Bowl so many years ago.
There's an added layer of uncertainty, though, anytime you put the ball in the air, though. So that's why I'm a little questionable. When you're 1 yard away, you're telling me your offensive line, your backs, your quarterback can't put the ball in the end zone rather than throw it into the end zone.
So where are we with the Seahawks right now after this win? A win, I remind you, nobody on this panel had. Mutes by association, doesn't matter. And where are we with New England after this loss, Bob Ryan?
New England, it's not a catastrophic loss in the big picture, of course, as it affects their chances for winning the division, which will win, or seeding, or anything else. But it revealed their flaw, which we already knew. The defense is not championship caliber. They've got to improve it before they get to the playoffs. As far as the Seahawks are concerned, they have to feel very good about themselves. They didn't even have to win the game to walk away feeling good about themselves, because they would have perhaps lost in overtime in New England. That would have been fine. So they feel very good about themselves, and they should. Russell Wilson outplayed Tom Brady in New England.
Plaschke.
Russell Wilson is back. That means the Seahawks are back. For me, Russell Wilson, only the 4th time in his career, 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. C.J. Prosise, more yards from scrimmage than in the previous rest of the season combined. They seem to have a little discovery there. The defense is back. Seattle's back to being Seattle again. I say they have to be the favorites now for the NFC.
Kevin Blackistone, do you agree with that statement from Bill Plaschke?
You know what? They sure looked strong last night. I mean, you got to remember Russell Wilson, when the lights come on prime time, 14-3-1. Does not matter where it's at. The guy's a performer. We saw him last week show signs that he was healthy again. And you know what? They got a little action out of the backfield last night with that young running back, had over 150 yards from scrimmage. So, and their defense, you know, we've been picking at their defense, saying the defense is not what it was of old. But let's not forget, the defense of old was a generational defense. I mean, it was that good. And right now, they're probably the second best defense in the NFL. So I like their chances a lot.
So right now, odds that this matchup, Patriots-Seahawks, is the Super Bowl. What are you laying the odds at, Adonde?
It sounds a lot like odds makers on PTI. You know that's not my favorite. I'm not willing to put the Seahawks past the Cowboys just yet. Yes, the Cowboys have young players that haven't been there before, but yesterday was a playoff-like game for Dallas, and they prevailed.
Blackistone, what are the odds?
60%.
Plashke.
80%.
Ryan.
50.
All right, we'll move on. Let's talk about Adonde's Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. 7 lead changes in this one. I say again, is that a lot? The penultimate on Ben's fake spike. The ultimate on Zeke. I saw Bill Barnwell write in his 129 yards of touchdowns yesterday. Elliott was touched 0 times. No touching. MVP right now, Bob. I know you love this in November. Is Ezekiel Elliott your guy?
30 years ago, we wouldn't have been having this discussion in the middle of the season. Nobody even cared about the NFL MVP anyway, and I don't want to have it now. But if you put the proverbial Luger to my head, it's the quarterback over the running back. Come on. Or how about giving it to the whole O-line of Dallas? How's that, huh?
Blackistone?
Absolutely. I think it's Dak Prescott. I mean, you just look at who he replaced and the record that he replaced. Without Tony Romo, 1-11, and this guy comes in and takes over the reins, a 4th-round draft pick out of Mississippi State, and he has his team 7-1, and people talking about them being a team that's headed to the Super Bowl. I mean, I know Ezekiel Elliott is behind him, and he's got Dez Bryant out there and Jason Witten to throw to, but he has been super efficient. He is the story of the league this year.
Adonde?
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't have Dak Prescott, then Ezekiel Elliott isn't able to do all that he's doing because the defenses could just load up against the run. Prescott has kept them honest. He's kept the Cowboys in contention.
Isn't that true the other way as well, though?
You could say it the other way, but you know the value of quarterbacks in this league, Tony. And guess what? Dak Prescott is off to the best start in terms of one-loss record of any rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl era. Historic stuff that he's doing. At the very least, it's the most valuable player type of stuff for this year. And Bob, if you advocate having eggnog available throughout the entirety of the calendar year, why can't we have NFL MVP discussions throughout?
Good for both of you. I'm a little bit confused here. One side of the argument is, well, the quarterback can't do it without the running back. The running back's the MVP. And the other side of the argument is, well, the running back can't do it without the quarterback, so the quarterback's the MVP. Bill Plashke, please shed
I'll
some
settle
light.
Your confusion for you, Tony. Who's the best offensive player on the Cowboys? Ezekiel Elliott. There's no question he's the MVP. Without him, Prescott doesn't have the time. Prescott doesn't have the mobility, the ability to do what he's doing. Elliott's the best running back in football right now. Elliott could break rookie rushing records. He catches passes out of the backfield. He stays in and blocks in the backfield. He does it all for them, and he allows Prescott to be Prescott. He's the MVP. Come on.
Well, now that it seems like it's a certainty that Prescott's going to finish, well, at least next week as the starting quarterback, are you buying that Tony Romo's lips, everybody loved this, said it's his time when the cameras cut to him after that huge Dak play to Dez? Bob Ryan, are you a lip reader?
Not in this case. I don't think he's saying it's his time at all. I think he's saying, well, there's other teams.
No, I mean literally on his lips. Plashke, how about you?
I think he's actually supporting my opinion. He's saying it's Zeke's time. I think he's saying it's Zeke's time. He's casting his MVP vote, agreeing with me.
Okay. After a long pass to Dez Bryant, he's talking about Zeke. I don't know about that.
Yeah, okay.
Blackistone, do I need to ask you this, or can I just mute everybody here?
No, you need to ask me, and my answer is that's a dime. That's what he's talking about.
That he was throwing a pass there?
Touchdown.
Okay, absolutely. I can buy that. Adonde, how about you?
I think he's watching his starting quarterback opportunities go up in flames like that dog in the internet meme, and he's saying, this is fine. This is fine. No problem. This is fine.
All right, that's not bad. We'll move on. College. For the first time in 30 years, 30, number 2, number 3, number 4, all going down and going down hard. Bill Plaschke, I believe you had USC over Washington. Please,
I believe I did.
I know you were about to tell us that. 2 questions. Whose loss hurts most, and what does it mean for the playoff?
Only 2 points for that? I guess you don't really believe that USC's victory is that big.
Well, if you're asking now, it's only 1 point. How about that?
I think Washington's loss is the biggest loss is Washington. They're not going to get back. Their strength of schedule is not there. I don't think they have a shot at the CFP now. I think the loss from Clemson can get it back with the championship game in the conference. Michigan can get it all back. I think the loss, if it helps anybody the whole weekend, it helps Louisville. I think it brings Louisville into the picture that, again, they can't win the conference championship game because they aren't going to be in it because Clemson beat them. But with their record and they're the most exciting player in football, most exciting team in football, they could sneak in there as the number 4 seed.
Let me ask you this.
Helps
with
Louisville.
The new ranking coming out this week, could Louisville jump Clemson, be over Clemson, even though Clemson owns the head-to-head and they both have 1 loss?
Oh, I think absolutely, because Louisville's been on strength of schedule and on the body of work. They've been a better team. Yes, they ought to jump Clemson.
How about you, Blackistone?
How messed up would that be, right? Louisville jumps over a team that beat them.
It would be
That's crazy.
something.
That's what's wrong with this whole system. Look, so here's the breakdown. Clemson will run the table. They will be fine. They'll be in the Final Four. Michigan, what do they need to do? They need to beat Ohio State, and that will keep them in. Ohio State could very well jump Michigan, though, this week based on their last 2 outings, where they're just putting up points like crazy. But here's the thing with Washington. Even though Washington doesn't look very good right now, they're in the Pac-12. They got a championship game, and the people on the committee always say the championship games matter. So would you take a team like, let's say, Ohio State, which wouldn't get there, over a team like Washington, which could get a championship?
Don, that's a lot of questions for Blackistone. You want to answer any of them?
I'm a journalist. I ask
Well,
questions.
I just say that I don't think that head-to-head, it does make a difference, I should say head makes a difference. We've seen that from the playoff committee so far in the rankings. If there's one policy that they've established, that in head-to-head they're going to go with the victor and not rank a team that lost to a team ahead of the team that beat them. So I think that bodes well for Clemson. I'd like to see Louisville in the mix. I just don't think they have the pass to win the conference championship. That's why I think Washington is the big loser from this weekend, because there's not much respect to what's going on in the western portion of our football-playing country, and their non-conference schedule's strength is very weak.
Not much respect from you on the western portion. If you were in L.A. all those years, now I see you in Chicago.
Yeah,
How about
big
you, Bob,
fucker
right?
now.
I'm not going to go through all the what-ifs and permutations. I'm going to settle with go with this. If I were on the committee, I'd have to decide, in the final analysis, do I want who I think right now are the best 4 teams, or do I want to honor a body of work, a record over that, as opposed to, and the fact is, I would jump a team that has lost, that has won another team. In other words, I would take Louisville over Clemson if I honestly thought Louisville was a better team now. That game was too close to call, frankly.
Last word after the
I just got to say this. Outside of Alabama, no team is scarier or more dangerous right now than USC. Mark my word, nobody wants to play USC right now. Don't mute me. Don't mute me. It's the truth. 6 straight wins. They would be in the top 4 if they hadn't had that.
Even though it doesn't say L.A. behind you and you're in a New York state of mind, Billy Joel. You look like Billy Joel. Now you're in New York. You're in New York state of mind. You're getting muted. We're taking a break right here. Buy or sell next.
Buy or sell.
When we talked about Broncos Saints on Friday, none of you brought up the last-minute touchdown allowing, line leaping, extra point blocking, 2-point conversion the other way. Where were you guys? Brutal loss.
I wasn't on the show.
For New Orleans, especially with this sideline Meshuggah that was not conclusive, or maybe it was. I don't know. You tell me. Jay Adonde, start with you. The line leap is legal if you don't make contact. Should it be? And also the out of bounds. Are we ever going to know for sure either way?
I love the line leap. We should encourage more athletic players like that. It's not easy to jump over a big offensive lineman. If you can do it, go for it. And if you can get a shoe color that matches the sideline so you can't tell even on a replay, I encourage that as well. Very smart choice of footwear.
Yeah, they say no line leaping because of player safety. But you know what? If you can do it, I guess you can get away with it. And if you're the center, you got to make that block. And nice choice of shoes, white shoes on a white sideline. Who can tell? And by the way, the leaper, a triple jumper.
Lasky.
KB, if you're the center, you can't make that block. You'll be offsides. The guy's leaping. The play is fun to watch. It should be illegal because there's no way to defend against it. There's no way you can't. If you put a blocker behind the center, it's going to get in the way of the kick. There's no way to defend it. Make it illegal. It looks great. Doesn't work.
A blocker behind the center. That's interesting, too. I kind of want to see what that's all about.
I know,
Bob Bryan, how about you?
moving the extra point back is the best idea the league's had in years, and the leap is tremendous. And, Bill, it's too bad you can't block it. Not everybody can do it. Go out, get your own leaper. And then this will encourage more coaches, perhaps, to want to go for two and not worry about this. Oh, it's all to the good.
Incredible, though. It's incredible that it was
sure.
about to be a 1-point lead for New Orleans and turned into a 2-point loss. I mean, what a swing of events.
Go for two, then.
I could decide the playoffs. We'll move on. Brutal way to lose, part 2. Once up 17, and then having the game ripped from your cold, dead, formerly dabbed hands in the last 20 seconds. What a play from Marcus Peters. Kevin, you going to kill Carolina until they're dead? Or are you going to give some love to KC for this and 18 of 21, which is what they've won?
Carolina's already dead. You got to like KC here. This is their second 17-point comeback on the season. The rest of the league's only done it twice. And you know what? They don't do anything particularly good, but they get the football, number 1 in turnovers.
And that's what Marcus Peters did yesterday. How about you, Plaschke?
Carolina was in the Super Bowl last year. Let's don't forget that. I'm killing them. 20 unanswered points at home. They lose a game in which they do not allow an offensive touchdown. And in the second half, they could have put it away with a 20-play drive. That drive ended in a punt. When's the last time that's ever happened?
It's impossible.
Bob Ryan?
Just another log on a fire in the conflagration that's the Panthers season. It's all to the positive side of the KC Chiefs, who came and took that game away.
Adonde.
Yeah, Bob literally snatched it when Marcus Peters took that ball away like Debo in Friday.
Ooh.
And it's not even that big a deal now for Carolina to lose at home. We've seen it happen throughout the season already. And the Minnesota victory down there doesn't even look as good anymore. So Carolina's team has already lost. Kansas City is doing things. Keep an eye on them.
It's just 2 plays Kansas City had in that game. Eric Berry's interception, his return where he was all over the place was incredible. And then Marcus Peters, I mean, you don't see that enough. Anyone going to call them the second best team in the AFC? Just nod your head either way. Let me see it.
I don't like it.
Well, no, not for you, Bob. Okay, we'll move on. Buy or sell 3, Conor McGregor.
Hey.
No, not him. Him, the dominating win Saturday night at 2:05, and the demand now for ownership stake in UFC. This is interesting. Bill Plaschke, start us off. Can an athlete, the biggest, baddest, most singular, most notorious thing in the sport, ask for ownership, and might he deserve it?
He can ask for it. He does not deserve it. He should not get it. That would hurt the sport. His whole popularity is based on him being the villain, being the outsider, being the rogue. Suddenly he joins the establishment. That would change the whole rhythm, the whole dynamic of what Conor McGregor means to UFC. No, he shouldn't do it.
Bob Ryan?
No, I don't think he should do it either, because Dana White, the Supreme Justice there, he makes all the calls. There's no way he's ceding any power to anybody, even Conor McGregor. That's not going to happen.
But if he is singular in his town and the biggest name in all the sport, Adonde,
that's an exaggeration.
People are spending their money to watch the likes of Conor McGregor, maybe even particularly Conor McGregor. Absolutely, the athlete should have an ownership stake. In the NBA, they split it 50-50 just about. Why can't they do the same? Yeah, maybe he made 20 or 40 million this year, but the franchise, UFC, sold for $4 billion. He should have a larger stake in it.
Explain that to me again. You said in the NBA it's 50-50 split. You're talking about between the league and the players.
The basketball revenue, half goes to the owners, half goes to the players. And you've seen the benefits of that. When the revenues go up, you get contracts like what Mike
so that would
got
be every fighter would be getting a split. And McGregor specifically, Kevin Blackistone.
Well, you know what? If you're McGregor and you're a pugilist in a pugilism sport, right? You're getting your head beat in possibly sometimes. Why not retire, take those earnings, and plow it back into this company for your stake? Or do what Marcus Haynes did, the greatest dribbler in the history of basketball, left Abe Saperstein and the Globetrotters over a dispute about money and started his own team to compete with the Globetrotters, the Magicians. Do that.
But that didn't work out historically, right? Nobody's talking about the Magicians. They talk about the Globetrotters.
Magicians lasted for a long time, and Marcus Haynes is in the Hall of Fame, I do believe.
Stone and Ryan done right here. Adonde and Plaschke in Showdown next.
Coast to coast.
Titans rearranging deck chairs on the Packers. 47-25. Kirk Cousins ooh-weeing the Vikings 26-20, which means in the NFC North, the Lions are now in first for doing nothing. Jay, is this a division about nothing?
Boom, ba-dum, boom, 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 boom. No, this division is about the Packers' inability to protect the quarterback and their receivers' inability to get separation. That's what's created this opportunity for everyone else in the division.
This is all about the potential end of the Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy, Packer duo. That's what this is about. This is all about whoever wins the division. It's not going to be Green Bay. That's what it's about.
Adonde's getting the point.
Yeah, of course he is.
No pick! No pick! We'll move on. Hidden benches for Hawaii. Ooh, coach is upset. Hidden returner for Kansas, who was camoed in the turf. Bill, what was the better hidden track?
Well, I thought the Kansas kid at least was trying, and it was fun. The Hawaii thing wasn't fun. It was like, that's about some player safety issue. You need a place for the guys to sit down if they're wiped out.
Not player safety, it's a coaching issue. Bill, what's the greatest threat a coach can use with his players? Sending him to the bench. How are you going to send him to the bench if there's no benches there? He just, cut his legs off now. He's got no power. You can't bench a player with no bench.
FaceTime, J.A. Adonde. That's how you roll him.
The big news last week was a new Tribe Called Quest album. That means one last batch of sports references from Phife, the all-time leader in hip-hop sports references. So now, in addition to the 22 previous sports figures and teams he shouted out, we have a new batch. It includes Tony Romo, Jason Witten, Mike Tyson, John Wall, Chris Paul, also Todd Bowles, and the New York Jets. One last batch from the Phife Dog. Rest in peace, Phife.
Were you ever name dropped by Phife at all, Adonde?
No, I used to have his pager number.
Just doing it right now.
Have that.
Warriors Blue 3-1. Just thought I'd remind day. Showdowning Flashkey, FaceTiming Adonde. Let's go around the horn.